Look, picture this. It's the middle of the month. You open your banking app. Your paycheck just hit, and it already feels spoken for. Rent, groceries, that one subscription you forgot to cancel, and somehow, even though you make decent money, your balance is basically playing limbo. How low can you go before the next paycheck? You're not broke, but you're also one unexpected expense away from mild panic. Car noise, heart rate spikes. Medical bill, instant stress. And here's the thing. Most people think the solution is making more money. But what if I told you that the real turning point for most people isn't a raise? It's the moment they save $20,000. Not $1 million, not financial freedom, just 20 grand. Because once you hit that number, everything changes. And most people don't realize why. If you're someone who feels like you're doing all the right things, but still living paycheck to paycheck, still anxious about money, still feeling behind no matter how hard you try, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Now let's talk about why $20,000 is the most underrated milestone in personal finance. Here's what most people don't realize. Money doesn't change your life in a straight line. It changes your life in thresholds. The first few $1,000s, helpful, but fragile. You get a flat tire and it disappears. One bad month and you're back to zero. But $20,000? That's the point where money stops being temporary and starts becoming structural. According to the Federal Reserve, nearly 40% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing or selling something. Which means if you have $20,000 saved, you're already ahead of millions of people. Not because you're smarter, but because you crossed a psychological and financial line. This is subtle, but it's huge. Before $20,000, money problems feel urgent. Everything is an emergency. Everything feels personal. Every expense feels like failure. But once you have $20,000, problems downgrade themselves. Your car needs $1,200 in repairs. Before, oh no, this ruins everything. After, annoying, but fine. And that matters because your brain literally processes decisions differently under stress. Studies from Princeton show that financial scarcity can reduce cognitive performance by the equivalent of losing 13 IQ points. That's not a motivation issue. That's biology. When you save $20,000, you're not just buying safety, you're buying mental bandwidth. This is where it gets really interesting. Look, nobody wants to make bad financial decisions. People don't wake up excited to rack up credit card debt, take terrible car loans, say yes to underpaid jobs. They do it because they're cornered. Here's a real example. Let's say your monthly expenses are $2,500. $20,000 equals 8 months of living expenses. That means you can say no to bad jobs, you can wait for better opportunities, you can negotiate instead of begging. Before $20,000, you optimize for survival. After $20,000, you start optimizing for leverage. And leverage is where money starts working with you instead of against you.
Now you might be thinking, Jake, $20,000 isn't even that much anymore. And you're right, but here's the math people miss. Let's say you invest that $20,000 conservatively. Broad index funds, long-term, earning about 7% after inflation. That's roughly $1,400 per year, $116 per month, for doing literally nothing. That's not life-changing income. But that's not the point. The point is proof of concept. Because once your money starts producing money, your brain shifts from, I have to earn every dollar, to, how do I deploy capital? That mindset shift is everything. Here's a weird truth. $20,000 doesn't feel twice as safe as $10,000. It feels 5 times safer. Why? Because your brain thinks in buffers, not balances. $10,000 feels like one bad event away from gone. $20,000 feels like I can absorb mistakes, and that changes how you behave. You plan longer term. You invest more confidently. You stop checking your bank app 12 times a day. This is where people finally stop obsessing over every dollar and start focusing on direction. Before $20,000, risk feels dangerous. After $20,000,
Risk feels calculated. You're no longer asking, what if this fails? You're asking, what's the downside and can I survive it? That's a massive upgrade. It's the difference between avoiding risk entirely, taking intelligent, asymmetric bets. And this is exactly why people with savings tend to grow wealth faster. Not because they're reckless, but because they can afford patience. Now, quick warning. This is where a lot of people mess it up. They hit $20,000 and immediately upgrade their lifestyle. New car, bigger apartment, more deserved spending. And suddenly, the safety net disappears. Here's the rule. $20,000 is not permission to spend more. It's permission to think bigger. If your expenses inflate to match your savings, you lose the entire advantage. Actionable steps. How to use $20,000 the right way. Here's what actually works. Step 1. Lock in a true emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of expenses. No investing, no touching. This is your stress shield. Step 2. Separate opportunity money. The rest becomes investment capital, skill building money, freedom money. Different bucket, different rules. Step 3. Automate growth. Set automatic investments so discipline isn't required. Consistency beats motivation every single time. This one's emotional. Before $20,000, it feels like everyone else is ahead. After $20,000, you realize most people are winging it. You're not late, you're positioned. And that confidence compounds faster than interest ever could. Look, $20,000 won't make you rich, but it will make you calmer, smarter, harder to manipulate, harder to panic. And that's how real wealth starts. If this helped you see money differently, hit the like button. It tells YouTube to show this to people who actually need it. Subscribe if you want clear, realistic money breakdowns without the hype. And remember, you don't need more money to start winning. You need a buffer big enough to let you play the game properly.